Alright, legends, welcome along to Here's Rotters Reviews. We're going to get into the original run of the X-Men for some videos here and just have a little retrospective on the show. Work our way up to X-Men 97, which I have to say, really enjoying at the moment. Yeah, so we're just going to go through these episode by episode. That's not all we'll be doing on the channel. We're bouncing off Transformers and movies and whatnot. All the old school stuff and some movies, whatever tickles my fancy. But for now, I'm having a bit of a blast getting back into X-Men, the original run. I have not seen this show since the original run on television, and in all fairness, I think now the best of my memories only covers probably season 1 and most of season 2. Can't recall the rest of the seasons at all, so I'm looking forward to getting into this. Just like the big kid that I was whenever it originally aired. So like I was still in school whenever this here came out. I was early high school when this show originally aired, so loving it, taking me back to the day. So we open up on a news report. There's this large mutant destroying the city. We've got the news anchors reporting on the devastation that's going on, and the news reporter is talking about it been fueling anti-mutant hysteria. So we're into the thick of the things at the beginning of the episode. People know mutants exist, and the clash between humans and mutants has already begun at this point. So we're into the thick of it. That's good stuff. We cut to the end of the report. Just before that, as they're going through the news story, you see different shots of what's going on with mutants, and you see a quick little shot of Magneto in there. Though it's a couple of episodes before he's actually introduced into the series. The television is turned off at this point. We're in this house. There's a man and woman talking about their daughter, and she's wondering why her husband would have registered her with the Mutant Control Agency. What are we going to do, sort of a thing. So they're complaining upstairs. The daughter, who is Jubilee, who becomes one of the X-Men, is only realising her powers for the first time at this point. And she doesn't know what to do, how to deal with it. And hearing her parents talking about her, well, when I say parents, these are her foster parents. She stuffs the bed in her bedroom to make it look like there's somebody in it, and she runs out of the house. Whether she's thinking of running away or she just wants to get some peace, we're not sure, but we see this giant robot come flying towards their house, and it's scanning through the neighbourhood, tracks down her room, breaks through the window, lifts the bed, but of course she's not there. So of course the parents hear the noise upstairs, and they're like screaming for Jubilee. We cut over to her. She's gone to the arcade. She's having a little bitch and moan about her situation, why she is the way she is. What am I going to do here? At that point, her mutant powers manifest, and she puts a charge through the machine and destroys it. So the owner of the establishment points her out for this here. You're one of them, aren't you? She runs off. Of course, nobody's got time for mutants at this point. There's a lot of, just no acceptance for them, really. Jubilee runs off towards the local mall. As she's running through the entrance, she bumps into two women, knocks them over, who we later find out to be Rogue and Storm from the X-Men. So she goes into the mall to try and hide. And this giant robot, the Sentinel, is still hunting her down. It has her tracked. It's only a matter of time before it gets hold of her now. So as we cut back to the mall now, we get to see Gambit shows up. He's buying cards in a store and he's flirting with the woman behind the counter, being his usual charming, cheesy self. At this point, the Sentinel busts into the mall and tries to go after Jubilee one more time. At this point, Rogue and Storm kick off. They start fighting with it, try to take it down. Gambit is pulled in as well. He gets blown off his feet, almost knocked out, after saving Jubilee from falling from the top floor. At this point, she jumps out to save Gambit, and for the first time is able to control our powers. Complete accident. That's and just a natural reaction to try to help Gambit. So she uses her powers, blasts this thing in the face, knocks it back, and she's like, wow. At which point Gambit says, run, girl. So she gets out the mall, and of course the Sentinels after her one more time. At this point she bumps into Cyclops, the leader of the X-Men, and he very swiftly uses the blast, the beam from his eyes, to blow the head off this Sentinel. So that's it. They return to the school. At this point, Jubilee has been knocked unconscious with knockout gas from the Sentinel. She wakes up in the lower layers of the school, tries to escape one more time. One more time. She just woke up the first time. So she sneaks out of the room she's in. It's just very much like the scenes in the first X-Men movie whenever Wolverine woke up in the bowels of Xavier's school for the gifted. And, he's wandering about and seeing different things. And it's similar to this here. So she's walking about, she's seeing different mutants. The Beast is in there. Morph, she sees him, he's watching TV, he's got the ability to change his appearance and change his voice to mimic anybody. As she's trying to get out, we are introduced to Professor X at this point, and he's with Jean Grey, and he's talking about, I knew the X-Men would be revealed one day, but I didn't think it was going to happen like this. At this point, they realise there's a few monitors that was turned on that are now turned off. Jubilee seen a news report and talking about this, that, and other to do with mutants. She turned it off. She doesn't want to hear it. This alerts Professor X to what's happening, so he uses his gifts and, it works out. That's the girl. She's trying to escape. So he sounds the alarm. Everybody is looking for her. At this point, she runs into this room, which turns out to be a simulator for training, much like the holodeck in Star Trek. And in there, she comes across Wolverine, and she thinks that him and Gambit are fighting. They're in there having a training session together. And of course, Gambit was the first one she connected to, really, when the X-Men saved her, of course, falling from the top floor. So her initial response is to attack Wolverine, and again she manages to use her powers properly in defense to help someone else. Knocks Wolverine on his backside. So of course, Wolverine being the character, the hard ass, the X-Men would see him sitting in the corner holding his head after being knocked down with this little girl. They're having a good laugh at him, to which he responds with bringing the claws out, of course. So we're trying to work out, at this point, Professor X works out that from the news reports, he's managed to make the connection between the Mutant Control Agency. The photograph that they're actually showing is from a registry photograph. So he makes the connection with the Mutant Control Agency. If not behind this, someone within it has their own agenda. So they set up, they're going to go in to the agency to see if they can find any more information. So the final part of episode 1 as the X-Men been mobilised to head off to get into the Mutant Control Agency to get whatever they need. There's a little bit of a confrontational sequence between Wolverine and Cyclops, just like the movies. It was that long from me seeing this show originally to when the movies came out that I hadn't the clearest memory. But in the movies, of course, X-Men is always X-Men. Wolverine is always taking jabs at Cyclops, smart remarks and everything. That's just directly out of the original show here. So he gets his orders. They're going to head off to this place, but Jubilee haven't managed to escape at this point to go and find her parents to warn them. Has been captured by the Sentinels at this point. Wolverine wants to head off to find her on his own against the orders of Cyclops and the rest of the X-Men. So they have a head-to-head. Gambit steps in as well. He's going to take on Wolverine as well, but Cyclops is like, let him go. That is what it is. That's Wolverine at the end of the day. He's an asshole. They head off, but when they get to the registry, they're sneaking up outside. Wolverine's already there before him. He's like, a tractor. The scent went cold at her house. That's where the Sentinels got her. There was a man there with them. And I also got bit by a dog, he said. So at the end of the episode, they managed to get into the Mutant Control Agency building. They're just about to get through a door. They think they're home free at this point, but the audience, we're seeing on the other side of the door, there's a whole load of armed guards waiting for them. So that closes out episode 1. Great introduction to the X-Men. I forgot just how much I enjoyed this show. It's going to be great to get a proper catch up on it again and just enjoy the experience as if I'm watching it for the first time again. Like this episode, I'm not going to lie, a couple of days ago I sat there and I kind of binged forward about 5 or 6 episodes. It was all familiar stuff, but not something that is really jumping to the forefront of my memory. So it's just like the first time again for me to watch this. So I'm just going to check it out, love it, make a few videos about it, and just reminisce about it with you guys. So I think that's going to do it for this video. What I am going to do actually before we go is I've been watching quite a bit of stuff online, other channels and whatnot, and they're doing reviews. They're talking about entertainment news and any of the drama that's going on with particularly Disney and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And there's a lot of stuff going on that the fan base isn't particularly happy with. I don't want my opinion to be skewed by anybody else's negative opinions. Now, chances are any of the stuff that I've seen so far, as far as any of that goes, I more or less agree with. But at the same time, I don't want my frame of mind to be, directed by somebody else's opinion. So I'm going to go back, do all this sort of stuff, older shows, the classic shows. We'll get into the movies at some point. I'm just going to do it from my perspective from now on and not take on board what anybody else is moaning about. So if you're interested, definitely get subscribed to the channel. And if you're listening to the audio, give us a little follow on here, and we'll keep at it as best we can as we're moving forward.